Well, hello there, my fellow rushers. How you been doing today? King Rex here. And today we're gonna be doing another challenge that was requested by you. And for today we have to answer a question. And the question is, can you beat Kingdom Rush Origins on Impossible with Team Blue? What is Team Blue? Well, let's get into the rules and explain it. So yeah, the rules of the challenge. Rule number 1, we have to beat the entire main campaign. Rule number 2, we're gonna be playing on Impossible, as per usual. As you can see, already set in. Rule number 3, what can we use? Well, we can only use blue towers and blue heroes, obviously, which means we can only use arcane archers, high elven mages, and as far as the heroes go, we can only use Prince Dinas, Durax, and Bruce. These are gonna be our heroes that we can use, and yeah. Rule number 4, we have to upgrade as we progress, meaning that we start off from scratch and we get 5 stars per level, which shouldn't be too hard, right? And last but not least, rule number 5, we have to beat every level without losing any lives. So if you see a lot of Durax usage, then you know why. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. So yeah, the first few levels. The first few levels are, you guessed it, they're easy. There's nothing really threatening about them, we're just gonna cruise right through them. What an ease. Yeah, should be obvious, right? And yeah, I know we're using Prince Dinas and all, but that's for the sake of nostalgia. Like, back in the day, I used to really like this hero for some reason. There was something about him. I don't know if it was the way he looks or maybe his design per se, but something about him really clicked into me, and it really made me like him. Even though he is kind of underwhelming in certain ways. He's not like the worst hero in Kingdom Rush Origins. There's definitely a couple that are a little bit worse than him. But he's not like complete garbage. He still has his moments from time to time. You know, if you have a singular choke point, he's actually pretty good, because he can protect that choke point pretty well. Just use his ultimate, use a couple of reinforcements and you get your small little army. And that's kinda nice. But you know, the thing is that on Impossible, most enemies are beefy. And their attack is increased, meaning that unfortunately his sworn defenders are not gonna survive for very long. But however, we're still, you know, gonna cruise right through, even with Prince Dinas and all. Now for the boss. For the boss on this first level, I end up switching up the hero. I switched up, I think, to Bruce, and there's a simple reason for it. It's his ultimate, because apparently, what I learned was that his ultimate can do a lot of damage. Like, I'm not quite sure what was the number, but I think it's slightly lower than the Vindicator, but it can deal a lot of damage to bosses, because reasons, I guess. Now, I'm not quite sure if it's like 1200 or maybe a little bit more, but it's somewhere around there. And you know, it's nice. That's something that I learned from Vuduk, thanks a lot by the way. And yeah. Now for Durax. Durax will be used quite a few times because, you know, unfortunately that's the way it is. We have to use Durax, there's no way around it. Because if we're trying to preserve the NOL, he is our best bet. Since, you know, you can technically have your hero be at multiple places at once. You can have him either 2 or 3 places, depending on how well you micro him. That's the thing with Durax. He is a very hard hero to understand, because you have to micro usually 2 heroes at the same time. Because, you know, by the time the third replica comes in, you have like, alright, I think 25 seconds. For 25 seconds, if at max, for 25 seconds you're gonna have 3 Duraxes, which is awesome. Now, each one of them is good, but combining them together is usually the best way to go. However, sometimes this may not be available because, you know, you may have to move one of them to support another choke point, or move both of them. You never know. It depends on the game. Now, if I have to say which levels were pretty hard for me in this challenge, there were actually quite a few. To start off with Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake was very, very rough, for reasons. Like, I don't know what it is about this map, but it's always very hard for me. I can't beat it usually, especially when I'm doing a hard challenge like this. Even though it seems kind of easy, with Durax, it's still hard. If you don't micro him properly, you're gonna die. That's the way it is. Also, I was able to learn something interesting about Durax's ultimate. If a Banner Snatch is not blocked and he's still rolling and you use his ultimate, the ultimate does nothing. Yep. So yeah, I ended up wasting it quite a few times and that made me rage quit, unfortunately, so It took me like 5 to 6 attempts to beat this level until I finally gave up and used Durex. I really wanted to do it with Bruce, but we just didn't have enough stalling power, man. And his ultimate did barely anything, so yeah, I had to switch up to Durex. And we're gonna use Durex for the next few levels, including Never Wonder, which was another surprisingly tough level. Even though we have arcanes with burst arrows, it's not quite as easy as it may seem. You know, if you mess up your micro on the last 2 waves, you're getting overwhelmed. That's the way it is. And yeah, sadly the mushrooms have just a little bit of extra HP on Impossible to survive the burst arrows at tier 1. Usually you'll be able to one-shot them with tier 1, but on Impossible they have 90 HP, while the burst arrows deal, I think, 80 damage, 80 magical damage, so yeah, they're going to survive, which is kinda sad, but you know, we're gonna take down this level and we're gonna move on to the next one. For Unsettled Court, same thing, Durex, we're gonna melt the boss, you already know what's gonna happen. So yeah, it's nothing too threatening, right? Yep, everything is easy, surprisingly. And now we're pretty close, we're approaching the end, that's for sure. Now, are we gonna be victorious? Maybe. Maybe we are, maybe we will not be. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, now we are pretty close, yeah. This level is kind of rough, as you can see. But we're gonna complete it, it's just gonna take a while. The mushrooms are definitely taking their sweet time to die, but we're gonna kill them, don't worry. Everything is gonna be fine. Everything will go according to plan. I even had some time to play the minigame, which, by the way, this minigame in Never Wonder is definitely worthwhile. If you get good, you can get like over 200 gold per completed match, which is pretty insane if I do say so myself. And yeah, can we finish the level? Yes, indeed we can. Now we can move on to Unsettled Court, where I use Durex again, because, you know, he's kinda needed. The mushrooms again are surprisingly a little bit challenging. Now, I tried it with more High Elven mages and it didn't ended up working out quite as well. The main issue was the fact that you have a lot of hordes of enemies, and that's kind of problematic. But, you know, we're gonna handle them, we're gonna have some more burst arrows, and we're gonna burst down the boss. The boss was surprisingly easy for some reason. I don't know if it was because I used my abilities properly, I don't know if it's because Durex is OP, but whatever the case is, she ended up dying a little bit faster than usual, which is kind of interesting. You know, we're playing on Impossible, she's supposed to be very strong and all, but she just isn't, man. She just dies. Miserably, if I do say so myself. So, yeah. Well, this boss is down. Now we're moving on to this one, the easiest level in the game. We're using Bruce again for reasons, I don't know why, I just decided to pick Bruce. And we have this golem that's coming in any minute now. And this golem just gets perma-stunned. I mean, look at that, man. He's getting, well, not a perma-stun, but he's getting stunned for a very long time. That's another strategy that you can do with High Elven mages. Just spam them. Spam them with the time-lapse ability, and you can perma-stun an enemy. It's wonderful. Speaking about perma-stuns, look at that. These two golems, same thing. Getting stunned for a very long time, giving us time to recharge reinforcements, recharge our lighting. It's wonderful. That's why I think that High Elven mages are not a terrible tower. Sure, are they a great tower? No. Can they be better? Yes. 100%. But I would say that they are kind of okay tower, you know. Most people would definitely use Wild Magus over High Elven Mage, but I would say High Elven Mage has his place in this game. He has his moments. It's not really good when you use only one of them. You usually want to spam him. You want to get at least a couple of them. And now here we are at probably the hardest level for me. This awful level. Holy goodness, Batman. Yeah, this one was hard, to say the least. It took me 8 attempts, and I think 6 or 5, no, actually 5 of them were with Durex. And I tried 3 of them with Bruce in the beginning because I thought, maybe he can pull it off, but he didn't, so I switched up to Durex, and after some practice I was able to finally take it down, which is wonderful. And now, let's move on to this, the final boss. This one wasn't as bad. Sure, wave 14 was a little bit scary because, you know, we have a lot of Arachnomancers that can spawn spiders, and that's kind of annoying, but who cares? We're gonna destroy them, right? Well, yeah. And the boss ended up melting to us, as per usual. That was very good, man. And I definitely improved a little bit with Durex. I would say that I pay more respect towards the High Elven Mages after this challenge. And yeah, it was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. I would recommend you trying it out, if you want to see the power of High Elven Mages, because they helped me out on quite a few levels. You know, they're not a useless tower. They definitely can be used in certain situations. They're just not like great for like every map in the game. But I would say that they're about B tier, at least in... Damn, well, that was interesting. So in the end, the question must be answered. Can you beat Kingdom Rush Origins on Impossible with Team Blue? The answer to that is yes. Yes, you can. It was kinda difficult, I will admit it. Neverwonder and especially Macton's Retreat were very tough, but once you get used to it, it kinda becomes not an easy. It becomes easy. Let's just say that. But yeah guys, well, with that out of the way, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you everybody so much for watching, I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future, and while you're at it, drop a like on the video, it means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Until it comes, that was King Rexy, over and out.